Hello Stampers, I've got this great gatefold card for you today, and I'm trying to get this video done before it starts thunderstorming again because it's really loud in my office when it rains. So I'm doing this in between the raindrops. So I have this wonderful fishing card for you today, and it's great for, of course, any fisher, man or woman. And I'm using the Gone Fishing stamp set. This is a new stamp set in the annual catalog from Stampin' Up. So we're going to be using that and the gatefold card, which is a fun fold. I like this. It's so easy to do. And we're going to get going with our main panel first. And some Post-it note circles that I punched. So this main panel is basic white and it's 3-inch square. Now all the dimensions for this card are down below this video. Just click show more and you'll see them all there, along with the links to the products. That'll take you directly to my online store. Here we go. We're going to start with our background here. Now I've punched some circles, and I have a 1.5-inch circle, it's the smallest, and then a 2 3/8 circle, which is the largest, and the medium-sized one is just a 2-inch. So I have 3 sizes here. Now you can use any size circles, just have them to where they kind of layer inside of each other, and you'll do fine with this. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to exactly use the ones that I did. So we're going to start with the largest circle, and this is the 2 3/8. And I'm going to kind of offset this. These were punched out of Post-it notes, so they got a bit of sticky on just one portion of it. Now I'm putting this down in the bottom left corner, and I'm going to bring in some colors. I'm going to bring in Balmy Blue and Boho Blue. I'm going to open these all up here, and then Misty Moonlight, because we're going to add some different colors here and there. So I'm going to start with the lightest color, which is Balmy Blue, and I'm just going to take this all around the circle. With that circle mask on there, it's going to, of course, leave a big circle there. And that was the light color, and then I want to go to like a medium color, which is the Boho Blue, and I'm going to add some of that over here and across the top. I just want some different colors here. I like it lighter at the bottom and a little darker at the top. And then the next color is Misty Moonlight. And so I'm going to put it up here in the top corner. This gets really dark up there. Okay, so there is that. And now we're going to take this one off. That's our large circle. And then we're going to put the medium-sized circle on, that is 2 inches. I'm just going to kind of center that up. I'm going to start with my lightest color again. Kind of blend that around. And then let's go to the medium, which is the Boho Blue. Add some of that in there. And then just a little bit of the darker Misty Moonlight. And I'm doing the Misty Moonlight a little lighter now because I don't want to obliviate my circle that I have out there. So that is that one. So now we're going to go to the smallest circle, which I have a 1.5-inch. We're just going to put that in there, and we're going to repeat those colors again. So Balmy Blue, and then a little Boho Blue here. Get a little darker. And then our darkest, which is Misty Moonlight. There we go. So there is our circles in there. Now I'm going to add some color inside of this. So this is Balmy Blue in here. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of this Boho Blue. Okay, so there are our circles all done. Now I'm going to stamp my bobber here, and I'm just going to use a little scrap of basic white. This is a 2-inch square, fits fine on that. I'm going to stamp this bobber with Memento Tuxedo Black. There's that. And then it has this other little stamp here that you can put your color at the bottom of the bobber. Of course, you can make your bobber any color, but I wanted to use Cherry Cobbler for that nice red bobber that we're so familiar with. And I'm just going to line this up at the bottom. There we go. Isn't that cute? Now I'm going to cut this out. There is a die set that you can get, and they've Gone Fishing dies. That there is a die that cuts this out. But since I'm going to be cutting on this anyway, because we're going to not use this whole image, I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut this out real quick. We can't use the whole bobber. It has to look like part of it's down in the water. Otherwise, it just kind of looks funny and it's just sitting on top of the water. So there is our bobber that I cut out. And then I'm going to cut some of this off. Kind of round it off. There. So that's the piece I cut off. And that way it looks like it's just kind of in the water and not just sitting on top. And I need some color for a shadow, like underneath this bobber, so it looks like it's kind of being hidden by that shadow. And I'm going to use some Misty Moonlight, I think, for this. And I'm going to do this light, so I'm going to kind of brush some of that off. But I flipped my bobber over, and I'm using that as a mask. And I'm kind of going to hold the top of this. And I have it kind of centered in that circle. And I'm going to put this at the very bottom here of my bobber, so it looks like it's going to have that shadow there that's going to hide the bottom of my bobber, like it's in the water and you can't hardly see it because of the shadow. So see how that works out? So that was an easy mask because we just used our regular bobber there, and I'm going to adhere this on here. Sometimes these scenes look like they're complicated, but when you break them down, they're not complicated at all. I'm going to add that in there. There we go. So there's my little bobber on there. Now I need like a fishing line coming off of this. So I'm just going to take a ruler and I'm going to put this right across this top of this bobber here. And I have you can use any fine line marker for this. I'm using black. And I want this to kind of look like it's kind of coming off to the right here. There we go. And I have it coming off of that circle at the very top of the bobber. So there's your fishing line. Super easy. Now I wanted a couple of fish kind of in here. And we have some great fish, of course, in this set. And this one is a two stamp fish. So you have your outline and then you have one that kind of fills it a bit. Now I'm going to do this in my lightest color, which is Balmy Blue. And I just want it to look like it's lurking under the water. I don't want it to look like it's on top of the water. I want it to look like it's down in the water. So I'm adding it, and I'm not even stamping the whole fish on here. So there it is. I actually stamped part of it off of the panel. Now that was the outline, and now I'm going to use that same Balmy Blue. And this is the stamp that kind of fills it in some. So I'm going to line this up. There's our little fish kind of lurking under the water. Now it seems a little dark now, but as it dries, it actually tones down. Now you can add more fish, but I think I'm just going to stay with the one. And there is our scene. So that came together pretty fast. I'm going to layer this scene up with a couple panels. I'm going to layer it up with a basic white panel. And this is 3 1/8, so it's 1/8 larger than our main panel here. That's 3 inches. So I'm just going to layer them up. I'm just going to use some multi-purpose glue here. There we go. So we got that nice white little outline there. And then I'm going to add a Misty Moonlight panel. And this panel is 3 1/4. So it's 1/8 larger than that white panel that we put on there. Now these are weenie layers. We have weenie layers that are just kind of tiny, but they really add a lot to your card. Layers don't always need to be really big, like they don't need to be 1/4 of an inch. But a 1/8 I think works really good. Okay, so we have that done. Now for our gatefold here, I'm going to start with this Misty Moonlight panel. That's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and then I'm going to do some scoring here, and I'm going to get my Simply Scored tool out. I have my little markers where I have my want to score this at, and I'm going to score it at 2 1/8. So 2 1/8, and then 6 3/8. So there are our score lines. Then I'm just going to bend these. So now we have these folded. I'm just going to use my bone folder. Crease those really well. Here we go. And then I'm going to put some panels on here. On the inside, I'm going to use a Boho Blue panel. This is 4 by 5 1/4. This is what you would put your sentiment on the inside. I'm not sure which sentiment I'm going to use. Boy, that stamp set has a lot of men sentiments in it, like good things come to those who wait, which is really cute for this fish one. Or so glad that you're my dad, happy Father's Day, happy retirement, congrats. So it's got a lot of nice sentiments in it for men. I'm just going to put this panel in here, kind of center it up. There we go. That's the inside. And then for the outside flaps, I cut 2 Boho Blue strips. And these are 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And it's going to go on each side. And center it up there. And when I started out making this card, I just looked on the back of the Designer Series paper pack that I wanted to use, the Let's Go Fishing pack. And on the back it listed what blues are in the pack. And so that's what I pulled out, the Misty Moonlight and the Boho Blue, to go with this Designer Series paper from the Let's Go Fishing pack. I think this paper is really pretty. A lot of them have like fishing things on there, like fish and such in the pack. I like this little water, looks like little waves. It's always nice to start out with those colors from the paper pack you want to use. That way you're for sure going to be matching. Matchy-matchy, right? Okay, so there is our Designer Series paper on there. We have this panel all ready to go. Now I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal, and I want to put it on this side of the card on the back. So when I flip it over, it'll be over here. So I'm just going to run a couple strips down just this side. I don't want to put any on the other side because I don't want it to go clear across. I'm just going to center it up on the front, but it'll just be adhered to the left side like that. And I used my Stampin' Seal because it's a little stronger than the glue. You could use Stampin' Seal Plus and it would be really strong. Okay, we got that on there. Now we just need a little embellishment. And so I punched some of these out, and these are the bow punch. I use this punch so much, it's like a must-have for me. It's called the Bough punch, B-O-U-G-H punch. And so I punched 5 of those out. I'm just going to line them up here. And I have one more over here somewhere. Here we go. And then I just wanted some color on them. So I'm going to use some Misty Moonlight. I didn't want them just to be plain Balmy Blue because that's what I punched them out of, was Balmy Blue. I'm just going to add some darkness to them. So I'm just going to hold the top of it and kind of add a little bit of that along the middle of the stem area. Here we go. Now aren't those pretty when you do that? Gives it such a great look. There's 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that was with Misty Moonlight. What a beautiful color, right? All right, so I'm going to move these off. I just want to flip that scrap paper over because we've gone so far on this card. It'd be tragic to add a big spot to the back of it that I don't want. So just flip that over just to make sure we have clean paper down. Now I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to add it on this left side. And this whole thing is going to be attached to this. So I'm going to run this right up the middle of the left side panel. And it's going to go right onto our main panel there. And then I'm going to add a couple more. And then I want to make sure that the top of these have a little glue on them. Not so worried about the bottom, because we're not going to put the whole thing on there. So there is the one that's on the left side also, but it's further down. And I'm going to do one more on there, on that left side. And I'm just making sure that it's on this side of the panel and not going off of the card. And then we can pick this up, give it a look on the back here. Just trim those off so they're flush with the bottom of the card. Okay, so that is the left side. And then I'm going to do the right side. And you kind of got to do this with it closed because you want to make sure that you don't have anything on top of this. So I'm putting these underneath that main panel. You don't want to go over where it comes together. Just make sure it's on this right panel here. Then I have one more. There we go. We'll add that one. And I don't want it to go off the side of the card either. Otherwise it'll make it hard to get it in the envelope. So we have those two on there. Now I'm going to open this up and cut those. Now they're flush with the bottom of the card. There we go. And there is our card. How about that? It's all done. We got that fish there. He's just waiting to bite that line, and I think it's all ready for a man, and you just put your sentiment in there. And I hope you enjoyed this project and that it inspires you to get inky today. So get those inks out and create along with me. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Doodles.